My fellow citizens and residents, the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis are greatly honored to join other member states of CARICOM in the observance of CARICOM Cuba Day, today, December 8, 2017. In May 1995, St. Kitts and Nevis established diplomatic relations with Cuba. 45 years ago, 4 independent CARICOM states, namely Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago, blazed the proverbial trail by establishing diplomatic relations with Cuba during the height of the Cold War. Indeed, this was a bold step which asserted their sovereignty against the backdrop of heightened geopolitical tension and uncertainty. This single act laid a foundation on which the relationship between Cuba and all member states of CARICOM now stands. The bonds of friendship between CARICOM and Cuba are underpinned by pillars of solidarity, commitment, and cooperation in socioeconomic, political, and environmental spheres. The relationship is embodied in the provision of scholarship grants and training opportunities, specifically in the areas of health, trade, agriculture, energy, disaster management, tourism development, culture, heritage, and sports, ensuring the well-being of our people and society. This momentous occasion was first commemorated on the 30th anniversary with the signing of the Havana Declaration by CARICOM heads of government and their Cuban counterpart in December 2002. A decision was then made to institutionalize the 8th of December as CARICOM Cuba Day. The establishment of diplomatic relations between CARICOM and Cuba for over 40 years served as an inspiration to all small states and contributed to Cuba playing a pivotal role within the region and beyond our geographical borders, facilitating a myriad of opportunities for countries to work with Cuba in trade and economic linkages, joint promotions, strategic alliances, and negotiations. Cuba remains a useful ally in the community of Latin America and the Caribbean states, CELAC, the United Nations, and the World Trade Organization. Our valued relationship between CARICOM and Cuba continues to mature, and as a result, the CARICOM community occupies a central role within Cuba's foreign policy. The relationship between both member states has grown and was demonstrated through the leadership of the late President Fidel Castro, when in December 2005, an agreement was ratified to deepen relations in the fields of socioeconomic, political cooperation, and medical assistance. It was as a result of this that Cuba was afforded the opportunity to be the only nation to establish embassies in all independent countries of the Caribbean community. In spite of its own challenges and difficulties, Cuba continued to demonstrate its resilience after the devastating effects of Hurricanes Irma and Maria on several member states of the Caribbean community by dispatching its doctors and medical professionals to the islands to assist with rescue efforts. The practice of solidarity as a main philosophy in Cuba's foreign policy has been instrumental, particularly with Cuba today, providing the Caribbean community with an extension of the agreement on trade and economic cooperation which facilitates access to the Cuban market for hundreds of CARICOM products free of import duties. Cuba must also be applauded, and the successful completion of the first phase of establishing the Center for the Stimulation of Development of Children, Adolescents, and Youth with special educational needs associated with disabilities, which will be based in Guyana. Cuba's premium value on education and cultural exchange has also given birth to the implementation status of the Regional School of Arts of the Caribbean, which will be based in Jamaica. The establishment of this proposed Center of Excellence will assist in the further development of the region's potential in the field of arts and culture. It is our hope that this new institution will serve to augment the work performed by the departments of culture across the region and take our own Caribbean Festival of Arts to a higher heights. St. Kitts and Nevis has not only benefited through the multilateral CARICOM-Cuba arrangements, but also bilaterally. Included among the many areas of assistance are the invaluable service of the Cuban medical practitioners, the Cuba Caribbean Eye Care Project, as well as the Cuban Health Care for Cancer Patients, which have benefited thousands of our nationals. The Cuban government has generously assisted with the education and training of many of our people. These scholarships have resulted in over 100 students graduated from Cuban institutions in a variety of fields, professions, allowing them to embark on careers that positively impact our society. At this time, 40 of our nationals are pursuing studies in Cuba. We note that the government of Cuba has offered scholarships this academic year in the areas of medicine and health technology. We are equally grateful for the 2 additional postgraduate scholarships afforded to individuals who wish to pursue undergraduate studies in Cuba. Let me extend best wishes to His Excellency Hugo Ruiz Cabrera, former resident ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary of the Republic of Cuba to St. Kitts and Nevis. The ambassador completed his tour of duty to our Federation in November of this year. Ambassador Ruiz, a career diplomat, used every available opportunity to further cement the existing bonds of friendship between our 2 countries. He executed his duties, understanding the interests of the government and people of the Federation with diligence. We thank him for his efforts and we wish him every success in his future endeavors. Notwithstanding his departure, the Federation welcomes in his stead His Excellency Abelardo Hernandez Ferreira. This appointment will no doubt aid in further deepening the bonds between our 2 countries. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis, along with other CARICOM member states, continue to stand in solidarity with the Republic of Cuba in supporting the United Nations resolution presented annually at the UN General Assembly on the necessity of ending the economic, commercial, and financial embargo imposed by the United States of America against Cuba. We are mindful of the challenges faced by our Cuban brothers and sisters as the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis continue to advocate for the removal of the U.S. embargo. The Federation, and by extension, the Caribbean community applauds Cuba and all of its achievements, particularly in the area of health. Noteworthy is the fact that Cuba is the first country to eliminate the transmission of HIV and syphilis from mother to child. Additionally, there have been major strides made in treatments of cancer, diabetic foot ulcers, and in tackling the advanced head and neck tumors. As we commemorate CARICOM Cuba Day, we congratulate Cuba and its resilience and its solidarity with CARICOM member states and our people. So long live Cuba, and long live the Caribbean community. Happy CARICOM Cuba Day to all. May God continue to bless us.
Stay up to date with news, programs, and activities of the government with SKNIS. Like us on Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. Follow us on Twitter. And watch our videos on YouTube. Connect with us today. SKNIS, St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.